So I can quickly do that, and then we can head to the area, talk to some people until he takes you away from me. Hopefully we can get it all done. It won't take long.
Yeah, no problem.
What are you guys going with in terms of your timeline as to when Tent City 4.0 started there? As far as like when it.
Hey everybody. How's everyone? Yeah, sure. I'm Constable Steve Addison. Last name is Addison, and I'm a Media Relations Officer here at the Vancouver Police Department. Thanks for coming down. I'm going to talk to you about a couple of things. The first thing I'll mention is an investigation related to a carjacking and a collision that occurred last night. And I understand you're also looking for some updates about what's happened down at Oppenheimer, as well as maybe the Hong Kong protests that happened over the weekend. So the first thing I'll mention is this incident involving a carjacking. At about 8:30 last night, the Vancouver Police Department received a 911 call about a carjacking that occurred in the area of Alma and West 4th on the west side. It appears, based on the investigation, that a female who was 8 months pregnant was sitting in the passenger seat of an idling vehicle when a suspect forced his way into the vehicle, forced her out, and then drove away in the stolen vehicle. As we were investigating that incident, we received, about 45 minutes later, we received information about a collision that had occurred near 70th and Granville on the west side in the Marpole neighborhood. Police officers attended that scene and found the same vehicle that had been stolen from the carjacking earlier that had been involved in that collision. By the time the police arrived, the driver of that vehicle, who was the suspect in the carjacking, had fled. Police fortunately set up containment, which means we had a number of police officers in the area to track down the suspect. And fortunately, some patrol officers did spot the suspect walking in the area, and they arrested him. He's a 22-year-old man of no fixed address. He has been arrested and was taken to jail with a number of charges that are being recommended. The file is currently with Crown Counsel. They'll review all of the evidence, and they will make a determination on which charges, if any, will be approved and how this will move forward. The victim in this case was a 35-year-old woman. As I say, she was 8 months pregnant. We don't have any information about any specific or serious injuries that occurred to anybody, but just due to her condition, she was 8 months pregnant, we ensured that she received medical attention and was treated appropriately. Involving the collision that occurred, we don't have any information about any serious injuries that occurred there.
What kind of injuries were you treating her for?
Simply because she was in an advanced stage of pregnancy. We have no information about serious physical injuries or any physical injuries. However, this is a traumatic experience for anybody who's involved in this. And because of her advanced stage of pregnancy, we wanted to make sure that everything was okay medically with her.
Was she pulled from the car, or was she forced, like demanded to leave?
She was the suspect. She was sitting in the passenger side of the vehicle. It was parked and it was idling. My understanding is her husband was nearby in outside the vehicle somewhere. The suspect came up to the vehicle, entered the vehicle, and demanded that she leave.
Did he have any weapons, or did he threaten?
Not going to get into any specifics about that, just for the integrity of the investigation at this point.
Is this guy known to the police?
Yes.
For any other reasons?
We've had this individual has had a number of recent contacts with police for a variety of incidents.
Is it one of those cases where he's in and out of court?
I can't speak to this person's court history or criminal history. What I can tell you is that there were some previous recent contacts with the police.
Okay.
I'll leave it up to you to look at the court registry for any previous background.
How come the name's not being released of the suspect?
Charges haven't been formally laid yet.
Sir, what was that?
The question was, how come we haven't released the name of the suspect? And simply, the charges have not been formally laid yet. The suspect has been arrested. He's in custody, and we're awaiting charges.
How far from the crash scene was he when he was arrested?
I don't have the specific distance. A short distance.
A couple blocks?
A short distance. I don't have the specific distance. I'm sorry. It was within our containment area.
Okay. And there was talk of some roadblocks at some point. Was that there was a message or a post to some of our crews overnight last night that there might have been some roadblocks in place. Was that at all in relation to this investigation?
I'm not sure what you mean by roadblocks.
well. There might have been a perimeter set up or some sort of to try and box in the suspect.
Yeah, so I might not have been clear. When I talk about containment, that's kind of police lingo, but normally what we will do when we have a situation like this where there's been a hit and run or a suspect who's fled from a collision scene, our police officers will go down and they will set up what you refer to as roadblocks, I refer to as containment, where we have visible police presence in the area at major choke points, intersections, in order to essentially contain that suspect. And that's fortunately what was successful in us locating and arresting the suspect.
So in areas such as the Oak Street and Arthur Lane bridges?
Yes, I did. I have received a number of inquiries this morning about Oak Street, and I think that was probably our containment that was set up for this incident. Yeah.
So there was no police chase involved?
No police chase.
Was he easy to apprehend, or did he go peacefully, or was he aggressive?
But I don't believe there were any complications with the arrest. Anything else on that one? Okay. Anything else? Ted?
Oppenheimer Park, the city today was over there telling all these the tent city people to leave by Wednesday.
Okay.
You're aware of that, and how's that going to affect policing?
Yeah, so the Parks Board and the city, as you're probably aware, have issued a general manager's order. I'll refer you to the Parks Board and the city for what that means and what that process involves. For us, our role from the Vancouver Police Department has not dramatically changed. We continue to be in the neighborhood. We're there to keep the peace, ensure public safety, and respond to incidents as they arise.
Did you not, a few weeks back, say something in one of these morning meetings about some violence that's been occurring over there, and you were somewhat concerned, I think, of some of the escalation of violence down there?
It is a challenging neighborhood to serve. In the Oppenheimer Park area in particular can be a challenging area. We have seen a number of incidents that have arisen in the past number of weeks and months as a result of some of the challenges that are down there. Yeah.
Has it been getting worse?
There, just in the past week alone, there have been 21 violent incidents in and around the park. We have seen an increase in incidents in that park, and we've had a number of, and we've discussed that previously.
There was also concern with officers going that you were talking about, there had to be at least 4, that you were concerned for officer safety as well in that area, let alone people who live there or work in that area as well.
Anytime we're sending police officers into a situation that could be volatile or dangerous, or a situation where there's a crowd, whether it's a crowded bar or a crowded park or any kind of crowded venue, it's advisable and it's best practice to have a number of police officers go in just to ensure officer safety.
Is there going to be any police enforcement come Wednesday?
Our police are there as normal, as we always are in the neighborhood, to keep the peace, to ensure public safety, and to address any issues as they arise.
But they're going to be forced out on Wednesday?
For the specifics of the general manager's order and the process moving forward, I'd refer you to the Parks Board for details on that.
Well, you know who will actually be moving them out? Would it be the police?
That would be something that I would refer you again to the Parks Board for the further steps on that.
Will there be an increased police presence over the next few days, as people no doubt probably?
We don't talk about specific officer deployment levels for any area or any incident or event. We always have a large number of police officers who work in that neighborhood, in the downtown east side in particular. One of our roles is to have a highly visible police presence. So yeah, you can expect to see police officers in and around the downtown east side in Oppenheimer Park as you always do.
When you said there were 21 events in the last couple of weeks, is that high by standards?
I don't know how that compares to standard. I can look into that. I don't know how that compares to standard. Yeah.
Can you give us an idea of the nature of what those?
I don't have specifics. No.
Madison, can I ask some question regarding the rally around Hong Kong issue
Sure.
last weekend? And it is said that one of the rally conducted by students was cancelled because the organizer received a warning from VPD and RCMP saying there would be potential violence incidents and is believed to be related to the Communist Party. Is that true?
So you're referring to the rallies that occurred this previous weekend. Now I know that I understand there's been a number of social media posts that have been going around speaking of threats, of either specific threats or veiled threats, and we're looking into those. But what I can tell you is that over the weekend we did have a number of people come out and participate in demonstrations. Protests, demonstrations, large crowds expressing their opinions on both sides of the discussion. Our role as the police is to facilitate lawful and peaceful protest, to keep the peace, and to intervene if a demonstration or protest becomes unlawful. Fortunately, in this case, over the past weekend, there were no major significant incidents. People on both sides were able to come out and express their opinions and do so without any significant issues.
So any special action the PPD will take to secure the upcoming rally?
As I said, our job is to provide a safe and peaceful environment for lawful protests, and we will continue to do that.
Is it standard practice for the VPD or even the LCMP to give out warnings to one particular group saying that, oh, they might be dangerous, and so?
So I don't want to speak to anything, any hypotheticals here, because I don't want to speculate. I know there have been lots of things circulating on social media, and I don't want to go any further than that because I just don't have information on it. Okay, thanks. Anything else from anybody? All right. Thanks for coming down.